Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here we want to explain about our review thesis about phenomenology and it used to fulfill the assignment of data analysis qualitative research. Before it, we want to introduce our member of groups. The first is Badiatul Ulya, and then Umi Rasidatun Jamilah, and then Nabila Nurhaliza Putri, and then Nur Harib Solihati Hasanah. Okay, the title of our review of thesis is a phenomenological study into how students experience and understand the university. And then second, a phenomenological study of the experience of helping professionals with learning disabilities. Okay, next. For the first title is a phenomenological study into how students experience and understand the university. The research question: for the purpose of this study, the following questions help establish the research agenda and further drive the investigation. The first is, how do students experience and understand the university presidency? And then the second is, how does this experience and understanding of the university presidency inform or shape the college experience for the students? And then the theory. According to Saul and Knight, 1988, findings supported the notion that leadership was not based on inborn traits. Instead, analysis of the data directly indicated methods and strategies could be taught to improve leadership success. I was interested in understanding how students define leadership success as it related to the university presidency. Industrial psychology gained momentum in the 1970s with leadership theory, focusing in on both internal and external situational factors within an organization past 1990.
And the next is research design. The purpose of this phenomenological study was to explore how to students experience and understand the university presidency. A qualitative strategy was chosen to help navigate my investigatory effort. And the next is instruments. The researcher first utilized a purposeful sampling strategy to select organizationally involved student respondents. Researcher next chose a modified snowball sampling effort to further connect with potential participants. And the next is data and source of data. Researchers' data collection, note-taking, coding, and memorizing transpired simultaneously from the onset of the research, and a sorting process facilitated project organization to achieve categorical saturation. Look 2001. And the next is technique collecting data. Data collection for this project occurred through interviews designed to explore the lived experience of students who had interacted with a university president. Participants were asked to attend an interview scheduled for approximately 45 until 60 minutes. And the next is data analysis technique. The researcher thoroughly read and reread the transcript interviews to identify with the data and to acquire a sense of each individual and his or her background and experience. From the transcript, the researcher identifies significant statements which pertain directly to the proposed phenomenon. The researcher developed interpretive meaning of each of the significant statements. The researcher rewrites the research protocols to ensure the original description is evident in the interpretive meaning. The interpretive meaning are arranged into clusters, which allow themes to emerge. The researcher seeks validation, avoids repetitive themes, and notes any discrepancies during this process.
The themes are then integrated into an exhaustive description. The researcher also refers the theme clusters back to the protocols to substantiate them. Then, the researchers produce a concise statement of the exhaustive description of provides a fundamental statement of identification, also referred to as the overall essence of the experience. And the reduced statement of the exhaustive description is presented to the study's participants in order to verify the conclusion and the development of the essence statement. Trustworthiness. Discussions and resulting commentary from my advisor, dissertation committee members, fellow PhD students, and colleges in higher education were noted and compiled for further reflection. Member checking occurred to allow participants to check transcript for inconsistencies and to serve as a platform for further clarification. And the second title is a phenomenological study of the experiences of helping professionals with learning disabilities. The research questions are: the first, to what extent are professionals in the helping professions or PHP with learning disabilities able to name the support, service, and assistance that exist to assist people with learning disabilities to successfully engage in the full range of activities for their daily living? The second, what type of support, service, and assistance would PHP with learning disabilities choose for themselves to successfully engage in full range of activities for their daily living? The third, how do PHP with learning disabilities describe the support, service, and assistance that are available to them? And the fourth, to what extent are the available support, service, and assistance congruent with requirements articulated by PHP with learning disabilities? The theory, learning disabilities were discovered in the early 1800s when Franz Joseph Gall began to study the similarities between brain injury and mental impairment. 200 years have passed since he began his research, yet our culture is still struggling with how to integrate people with learning disabilities into the mainstream culture, by Halahandi and Mercer C. 2000. Research design. This study will explore how professionals in the helping profession with learning disabilities describe the service they require to successfully engage in the full range of activities for daily life, the extent to which they experience the services they have described as available to them, and the extent to which the services available are congruent with the needs they describe.
Okay, instrument. The instrument of this research is observation and interview. Data and sort of data. The data provide the researcher with information regarding the participants' ability to describe how they think and how they learn. The articulate to articulate their learning process and to describe the type of support, service, and assistance they need to meet their daily needs. Participant in this study was volunteer. Technique collecting the data. The interview were conducted during their 60 to 90 minute interview with each participant. Each session was taped and filed. Notes were taken to document information. The researcher used demographic questions along with open-ended questions to gather data from the participant. The researcher documented observation of the physical and emotional behavior of the participant. At the end of each interview, the researcher reviewed upcoming data, times, and place of the next interview. Data analysis technique. First, what are the connective threads among the experiences of participants, and how does the researcher understand and explain this connection? Second, what does the researcher understand about the participants' experience that they didn't understand before she or he began the interview? And the last is, how have the researchers' interview been inconsistent, or gone beyond their view of the literature? Okay, the last is trustworthiness. As researcher, it was important to remain aware that any opinion or reaction to data during interview had the potential to sway the interview. It was also important as researcher to remain aware of the occasion when the story had the potential to insert itself into the research process of the stories of the participants and to take steps to ensure that all reactions remain outside the interview and the analysis of the data. The researcher has a high interest in the information that participants may provide. The ability to facilitate and support participants to tell their stories without becoming involved in their stories, to allow participants to provide the direction for the stories without attempting to set the direction, and to hear participants' stories without comment or analyzing was critical. Okay, that's all for our projects. Thanks for watching this video, and we say sorry if we have some mistakes. Don't forget to like and subscribe our video. Thank you and goodbye.